Some users vanish from a forum, and nobody asks why. Their posts are gone, their history wiped, but the stories remain. You're tuned in to LurmoStories, where we follow those loose ends all the way into the dark. Stay with me. One of these endings is still unfinished.
I contract nights at a mid-rise corporate tower off a river highway in the Midwest. 12 floors, glass lobby, badge access everywhere. Nothing secret. Finance firms, a legal floor, empty offices after 7 p.m. My job is to sit, watch cameras, log motion alerts, do rounds every 2 hours. Same route, same smells, same quiet hum of HVAC. It's the easiest money I've ever made. First week was dead routine. Second week too. Third week, my badge stopped behaving like a blank. At 1:17 a.m. on a Tuesday, I swiped into the stairwell to do my round. Reader beeped green, but the screen flashed a name instead of contractor. It showed M. Calder, Facilities. I figured it was a glitch. Old system. IT always half fixes things here. I took a photo for the log and kept moving. Fourth floor hallway was dark, except emergency strips. Camera 4B pinged motion at the far end, which was normal. Air vents trip it sometimes. When I checked the feed, the motion box was centered on a closed conference room door. No movement, just the box, steady. I keyed the radio, asked if anyone else was in. Dispatch said no, building was mine. On my way back, I tried my badge on a locked records room I'd never accessed before. Curiosity, I guess. It unlocked immediately, no hesitation. Inside was just shelving and banker's boxes. Dusty, unused, but the light was already on. Back at the desk, I pulled up the access logs. Every door I'd opened that night was logged under M. Calder. My contractor ID wasn't there at all. Not denied, not replaced, just absent, like it never existed. I called my supervisor. He laughed, told me Calder was a facilities guy who quit last year. Badge should have been deactivated. While we were talking, the elevator behind me chimed. Camera showed it arriving at the lobby from floor 12. No call registered. Doors opened to an empty car. Then the system logged a badge exit. Name on the log, M. Calder, Facilities. My badge was still on the desk in front of me. I didn't clock out early, didn't panic, just sat there until my shift ended, watching the access screen slowly fill with entries I hadn't made, all under the same name. At 6 a.m., as I was leaving, the turnstile denied me. Screen read, badge already assigned. Night 2 started with a replacement badge. Supervisor met me in the lobby before sunset, annoyed but calm. Said IT found ghost permissions tied to an old facilities profile. Handed me a new card in a paper sleeve. Different number. Watched him test it at the turnstile. Green light, clean. He told me not to worry, then asked, casually, if I'd been down to sublevel B. I said no. He stared a second too long and said, good, then left. By midnight, the building was empty again. Same hum, same cameras. New badge sat heavier in my pocket, like I kept checking it without realizing. At 12:42 a.m., the access panel chirped. Not an alarm, an acknowledgement. Someone had badged into floor 7, the legal floor. I pulled the feed. Hallway lights came on one section at a time, like a delayed wave. No person on camera, just lights responding. Access log updated. M. Calder, Facilities. I checked my badge number against the entry. Didn't match. Mine hadn't been used. I did a round early, took the stairs this time. Floor 7 smelled wrong. Old water and warm plastic. One office door at the end was open. I knew it had been locked before. Inside, the desks were bare except for a single badge on the tabletop. My old one. Same crack in the corner, same faded contractor logo. It wasn't deactivated, it was worn. Radio crackled behind me. Dispatch asked why I was showing as off-site. I said I was on 7. They said the system had me exiting the building 3 minutes ago. While we talked, the office lights went out. Emergency strips stayed on. In that thin light, the badge on the desk blinked green. Reader tone, soft and close, like it was being accepted somewhere nearby. I left the room. The hallway camera followed me a second too late, panning after I'd already passed its field. Back at the desk, the logs were filling faster now. Doors I hadn't touched. Elevators stopping on floors no one used. Each entry tagged with the same name, timestamped into the future by a few seconds. At 3:11 a.m., a new line appeared. M. Calder, Facilities. Badge issued. Issued to what? It didn't say. I tried the turnstile again. It let me through this time, but the exit log didn't show my name. It showed his. When the elevator doors closed behind me, the panel lit up on its own. Floor 12 was already selected. Floor 12 was dark by policy. No tenants, no reason to go up there. Elevator stopped anyway. Doors opened slow, like resistance. The air was warmer. Not HVAC warm, occupied warm. Lights came on without a switch. Half the floor was stripped down to studs, like a renovation that never started. The other half was intact. Cubicles, printers, coffee cups left to rot. Old workstations still humming. A man was standing at the far end near the windows. Back turned. Same uniform eyewear. Same posture you get from too many nights leaning on counters. He didn't move when I spoke. Didn't turn when I said the wrong name on purpose. On the desk beside him was a stack of badges. Dozens. All different companies, different years. Some cracked, some yellowed. All clipped to the same type of lanyard. I recognized mine immediately. It wasn't the newest one. It was the first replacement. The monitors on the wall behind him showed camera feeds. Not just this building. Other lobbies, other garages, different cities. Same layout, same night desk, same empty elevator opening. The man finally spoke, still facing the glass. Said the job doesn't end when the contract does. Said buildings remember who keeps them quiet. Who walks the same routes long enough to wear a shape into them. He told me Calder wasn't a person anymore. Just a role that needed filling. Said the system assigns it automatically when someone stays late enough, signs the right logs, learns the blind spots. I asked what happens if I leave. He picked up my badge from the desk, swiped it against a reader I couldn't see. Green light. Said I already did. The elevator chimed behind me. Doors open. Lobby selected. When I looked back, the floor was empty. No badges, no monitors, just a clean, unused office level. Morning shift found the desk occupied. Uniform pressed, logs perfect. A facilities badge clipped clean to the collar. Name on it? M. Calder. They say the contractor never showed up. Badge was already assigned. Confession post. Maintenance, municipal building. Posting because I don't know who else would listen. I've worked nights for the city for 6 years. HVAC checks, ceiling tiles, leaks, replacing exit signs. Boring, repetitive, safe. The building is a concrete block from the late 70s. 5 floors, no windows below street level. Records, offices, a few secured departments. Everyone leaves by 6. After that, it's just me, a guard at the front desk, and the hum of systems that never sleep. Last Tuesday started normal. Badge in at 9:47 p.m. Front guard, Carl, barely looked up from his phone. Signed the log. Same clipboard, same pen with chewed plastic. I went down to B2 to check a moisture sensor near the emergency stairwell. It's the stairwell nobody uses because it smells like dust and old paint. The exit door at the bottom is supposed to be unlocked from the inside. Fire code. Push bar, alarm, door opens to the service alley. I tested it every month. That night, the bar didn't move. I leaned into it harder than usual. Nothing. No alarm, no give. Just solid resistance, like pushing against a wall pretending to be a door. I checked the hinges, the frame, the panic bar housing. No damage. No extra locks. No tape. The red exit sign was lit like always. I radioed Carl. Tried the south stair exit. Doors not releasing. He paused too long before answering. Which one? B2, alley exit. Another pause. That door isn't active tonight. I laughed because that made no sense. It's an exit. Yeah, he said, quieter now. Just come back upstairs. On the wall next to the door, someone had taped a white sheet of paper. I hadn't noticed it before. Plain printer paper, black text, centered. Temporary egress restriction. Exit requires authorization. No city seal, no signature. Just that. I peeled it off to check underneath. The wall was warmer there, like something electrical ran behind it that wasn't on the plans. When I turned back, the paper was taped up again. Same angle, same crease. I didn't put it back. I went upstairs instead of arguing. On the way, every stairwell door opened normally. No signs, no notices. When I got to the lobby, Carl wouldn't meet my eyes. You need approval to leave early? He asked. I'm not leaving, I said. I'm working. Good, he replied, and checked my badge number against a list that wasn't there before. That's where I'll stop this part. Something in that building had decided exits were optional. I stayed because that's what you do when a place you've known for years starts acting wrong.
You stick to routine and hope it snaps back. Around midnight, my work order updated itself. Tablet buzzed, new task on top of the list. No supervisor name, just a location. B1, Corridor C, Door Functionality Audit. That corridor shouldn't exist. B1 only has storage cages and an old mailroom they stopped using after a flood. No Corridor C. I went anyway. The elevator refused to go below B2, so I took the stairs.
On B1, the lights were on lower power, that half-dim setting meant for emergencies. The air smelled metallic, like overheated wiring. Corridor C started where a concrete wall used to be. Same paint color as the rest of the level, but newer. Too clean, no scuffs, no old tape marks. The hallway was short, maybe 30 feet, ending in a single gray door with no handle. Mounted beside it was a badge reader. Above that, a small camera dome. Its lens pointed slightly downward, like it was meant to look at someone's chest instead of their face. A printed sign was taped at eye level. Authorized exit pending review. Please wait for clearance. Same font as before. I didn't badge in. I stood there, listening. There was a faint sound coming from behind the door. Not voices, more like movement through fabric. Slow, careful. My radio crackled. Carl again. You near an exit? No, I said. Good, he replied immediately. Don't be. I asked him what approval meant, who gave it, when this started. He swallowed before answering. I could hear it. They told us not to use that word, he said. Approval's not permission, it's confirmation. Confirmation of what? That you're supposed to leave. The badge reader lit up on its own, green, then yellow. The camera dome rotated slightly, adjusting. A tone sounded from the door. Not an alarm, more like a polite notification. Clearance under review. Please remain available. The floor vibrated, just a little, like a distant freight elevator moving somewhere below the building's lowest plans. I stepped back. The hallway lights brightened behind me, dimmed ahead. Guiding, not blocking. On my tablet, another update appeared. Status: on-site exit request. Registered. I never requested anything. I backed out of Corridor C and walked fast, not running, toward the stairs. The gray door stayed closed, but I could feel a tension on my back, the kind that doesn't blink. When I reached the stairwell, the door opened without resistance. Inside, taped to the concrete wall, was another notice. Do not prop exit doors. Do not attempt unauthenticated departure. Wait for approval. In smaller text at the bottom, barely visible unless you leaned in. Those who leave without clearance cause delays. That was when I realized the building wasn't keeping people out. It was deciding who got to finish being inside. Wait for me to continue. By 3:10 a.m., the building felt crowded without adding anyone new. Air pressure shifted in the hallways. Doors took a half-second longer to open, like they were checking something first. I tried to leave the right way. Front desk, main exit, normal glass doors, street visible outside. Carl stood up the moment he saw me approach. You're still active, he said, eyes on his monitor. My shift ended at 3. System says you're on site. So clear me. He shook his head slowly. I can't. That's not my role. Behind him, a second screen glowed faintly. Not a camera feed, a list. Badge numbers scrolling downward, some marked cleared, others pending, a few tagged returned. What does returned mean? Carl didn't answer. He pressed a button under the desk instead. The main exit doors locked. Not slammed shut, they eased closed, magnets engaging with a soft click. Outside, a bus passed. People walking dogs. Normal life, close enough to hear through the glass. The intercom chimed overhead. Same calm female voice used for weather alerts. Maintenance staff, it said. Your exit request has been reviewed. I waited for the rest. Additional presence required to resolve outstanding issues. I didn't request, please remain inside the building. The lights in the lobby shifted to emergency mode. Red exit signs stayed lit, but every door beneath them now had the same white notice taped across the frame. Exit requires approval. Carl backed away from the desk. They'll notice soon, he said. Once the building knows you're trying. Knows what? That you're done. Something heavy moved below us. Not footsteps, more like walls settling in a new configuration. I did the only thing left. I went back to work.
I fixed things that weren't broken, tightened bolts already tight, replaced filters that were clean. Each completed task cleared another line on my tablet. Issue resolved. Status updated. Near dawn, a final notification appeared. Outstanding matter. Your presence resolution required.
I understood then. The building wasn't malfunctioning. It was balancing, making sure nothing left unfinished. At 6:02 a.m., the front doors unlocked on their own. Carl was gone. Desk empty. Clipboard still there, pin chewed like always. No notice on the glass. No alarm. I walked out because it was open, not because I was cleared. Behind me, the doors closed gently. I haven't gone back. My badge still works on other city properties. Payroll hasn't flagged me. Sometimes, late at night, I get an email with no sender. Exit request, still pending. I don't open them anymore. I already know what the building wants me to finish. Hi 4chan, junior IT contractor here. Not posting this for attention, just need to get it out. I worked short-term contracts, password resets, printer hell, badge syncs, the kind of job where you're invisible unless something breaks. This one was a shared office suite in Northern Virginia. Multiple companies, thin walls, one server room everyone pretended not to know about. My access code was temporary, 6 digits, active only during my contract window. I was told it would expire automatically on my last day. First 2 weeks were routine. Morning coffee, ticket queue, small talk with people who never remembered my name. Server room was always cold, always humming, always locked unless you had clearance. I had clearance. On a Tuesday, I got an automated email at 6:12 a.m. Login success. Server RM3. Access code verified. I wasn't awake at 6:12. I lived alone. My phone was on the nightstand. Assumed it was a logging glitch. Those happen. Mentioned it to the on-site admin, Carl. He squinted at his screen, shrugged. Probably a delayed sync. Happens all the time. That should have been the end of it. Next day, another email. Same room, same code. 11:47 p.m. I was home, watching a game. I checked my laptop history, VPN logs, even my key fob app. Nothing. No remote session. No badge scan. Just the code. I replied to the system email, knowing it wouldn't go anywhere. Then I started checking manually. The logs didn't show a username anymore. Just active session, local input. On Thursday, the receptionist asked me if I was working late now. Told her no. She said, "We saw you last night. Hoodie. You didn't say hi." I laughed it off, said she must have seen someone else. She shook her head. "You used your code." That night, I stayed late on purpose. Sat in my car until the building emptied. Watched the lights shut off floor by floor. At 9:03 p.m., my phone buzzed. Login success. Server RM3. I was still in the parking lot. Went inside. Hallway lights were dimmed to motion only. The server room door was closed, but the access panel was lit green, active. I didn't open it. I just stood there, listening. Inside, something was typing. Slow. Careful. Like it was making sure every key press mattered. Then my phone buzzed again. Session extended. User verified. That's where I'm stopping for now. I'm back home. Code still hasn't expired. HR hasn't replied. And I just got another email, timestamped 5 minutes from now. 4chan. Hi again. Continuing because people are asking, and because this keeps getting worse. That email with the future timestamp wasn't a glitch. At exactly 9:18 p.m., my phone refreshed and the time matched. Same subject line, same wording. Like the system already knew I'd check. Next morning, I went straight to Carl's office. Door open, lights on, chair empty. His monitor was unlocked. That alone was weird. Carl never left his desk unlocked. On his screen, access logs, filtered by my code. There were entries going back months. Before my contract, before my name was even in the system. Same 6 digits, same clearance level, same local input tag. I took photos, hands shaking enough that a few were blurry. When I turned around, Carl was standing in the doorway. He didn't ask why I was at his computer. He just said, "You shouldn't look at those alone." Asked him who was using my code. He rubbed his face and said, "It's easier if you think of it as overlap." Told him that didn't mean anything. He lowered his voice. Shared suites recycle credentials. Sometimes something doesn't let go. I asked him to revoke my access immediately. He said he couldn't. The system wouldn't accept the change while the code was active. At lunch, security pulled me aside.
Asked why I'd been in the building overnight 3 times that week. Showed me camera stills. They were grainy, but the person had my build, my walk. Same jacket I wore to work, down to the frayed cuff. The face was never clear, always turned slightly away. I told them it wasn't me. They asked me to prove it. That evening, I didn't go home. I sat across the street in a diner with the windows facing the office. Kept my laptop open, logs refreshing every 30 seconds. At 10:41 p.m., the code activated again. From my seat, I saw the server room light turn on. Then, through the glass, I saw someone step into the hallway. Same jacket, same posture. He stopped near the elevator, pulled out a phone, looked down at it. My phone vibrated on the table.
Session health check. User confirmed.
The person across the street raised his head at the exact same moment I did. He didn't wave, didn't smile. He turned and walked back inside, like he'd just confirmed something worked. HR finally replied at 1:12 a.m. Short message, no greeting. Your contract ended last quarter. Please stop accessing the building. Final part, posting this and then I'm done. HR's email didn't make sense. I was sitting in a diner across from a building I was supposedly terminated from 3 months ago. My badge still opened doors. My code was still alive. Payroll hadn't bounced a single deposit. I replied asking for clarification. Got an auto response saying the ticket was closed. I drove home before sunrise. When I checked my apartment door camera, there was activity logged at 2:06 a.m. Someone stood outside my door for almost a full minute. The camera never caught a face, just the edge of a jacket sleeve I recognized too well. Next day, I went back anyway. If the contract was over, I wanted it over in reality. Security didn't stop me. Front desk smiled like always. My badge worked. Elevator worked. Server room panel lit green before I even touched it. Inside, one terminal was already awake. My name was logged in. Not my username, just my name. No employee ID attached, no timestamp. On the screen was a checklist. Completed items all marked green.
Access continuity confirmed. Behavioral match within tolerance. External witnesses normalized. User resistance diminishing. At the bottom was one unchecked line. Original instance retirement. I heard footsteps behind me, slow, familiar rhythm. I didn't turn around. Carl spoke from the doorway. His voice sounded tired, like he'd been explaining this for years. It's not stealing your access, he said. It's inheriting it. Asked him what happens next. He sighed. Usually people stop showing up. Systems don't like duplicates. I told him I wasn't quitting. He nodded once. That's the part that hurts. My phone buzzed on the desk. Access code transfer complete. The terminal logged out on its own. Carl's badge stopped working. Mine didn't. Security came running a minute later. They looked past Carl like he wasn't there. Asked me why an unauthorized person was in a restricted room. Carl tried to talk to them. They didn't react. One guard walked straight through him to get to the panel. They escorted Carl out. No one asked for a statement from me. By evening, my employee profile updated. Senior clearance, full-time, no end date. My apartment door camera hasn't recorded anything since that night. Sometimes I get emails about logins I don't remember making. Sometimes I see someone in reflective glass walking half a step behind me. HR finally sent a welcome packet this morning. Orientation is scheduled for Monday. Same building, same room. And according to the agenda, I'll be training the new junior contractor. His access code is temporary.
Tonight's accounts are over, but the timelines they came from are still running. You've been listening to LurmoStories, and somewhere, another user is hitting post on something they'll regret.